President Trump is calling out Maryland Governor Wes Moore over the catastrophic Potomac sewage spill, saying his mismanagement caused a massive ecological disaster.
White House correspondent Aisha Hasni joins us with the details. Hey, Aisha.
Hey, good morning to you. And the president is now going to be sending in federal help. He's going to send in FEMA, which, by the way, an agency that's currently not being funded because of the fight over Department of Homeland Security funding that the Democrats are demanding reforms to. Both sides are really trading shots here because of this sewage situation. After a sewage pipe interceptor collapsed last month in Cabin John, Maryland, it released about 240 million gallons of sewage into the Potomac River. The president calling this whole thing a failure of Democratic leadership.
It's just a bad governor. He's not doing a good job. Wes Moore, he's doing a terrible job. And you can see that. I don't like the job that Wes Moore is doing. I don't like the job he's doing in the bridge. I don't like the fact that he did that horrible, with the pipes in the Potomac. And he's not doing the job. They got to do it. And I'm going to have to get the federal government involved in getting it fixed because he can't fix anything.
So the Maryland governor, Wes Moore, a potential 2028 hopeful, firing back via a spokesperson here, writing, "The president has his facts wrong again. Since the last century, the federal government has been responsible for the Potomac interceptor, which is the origin of the sewage leak. For the last 4 weeks, the Trump administration has failed to act, shirking its responsibility and putting people's health at risk. Where the president has failed to act, Maryland has played its part to protect residents, protect drinking water, and ensure accountability." So as that goes on, we wait to see what else happens next if they continue to trade barbs. The president does have a number of events today, but they are all right now closed to the press. Lawrence?
All right, thanks.
So there's a situation unfolding that a lot of people might have missed, but it's worth talking about because it touches on something we all care about: clean water, government responsibility, and who's actually in charge when things go wrong. According to reports, there's been a major sewage spill into the Potomac River after a pipe interceptor collapsed last month in Cabin John, Maryland. We're talking about 240 million gallons of sewage, that's not a typo, released into a river that millions of people rely on. And now, President Trump and Maryland Governor Wes Moore are publicly disagreeing about whose responsibility it is to fix it. Here's what we know from the news. A sewage interceptor collapsed in late January, causing a massive spill. President Trump has criticized Governor Moore, calling it a failure of Democratic leadership and saying Moore isn't doing his job, not just on this issue, but also referencing other matters like a bridge situation. Trump says he's going to send in federal help to get it fixed, because in his words, the state can't handle it. Governor Moore's office fired back with a statement saying the president has his facts wrong. According to Moore's spokesperson, the federal government has actually been responsible for the Potomac interceptor since the last century, so this isn't a state pipe, it's a federal one. They claim the Trump administration has failed to act for 4 weeks, putting people's health at risk, while Maryland has done its part to protect residents and drinking water. Now, if you're just a regular person hearing about this, your first reaction is probably, wait, who's actually supposed to fix this? And that's a fair question, because when something like this happens, people don't really care about the political blame game. They just want clean water, and they want it fixed fast. It appears that both sides are pointing fingers, which is frustrating to watch. On one hand, if the infrastructure has been federally managed for decades, then it does seem like federal responsibility should kick in. On the other hand, state governments usually have emergency powers and resources to respond quickly to local crises, so waiting 4 weeks does feel like a long time. From one perspective, President Trump might be trying to hold state leaders accountable for local environmental issues, especially if he believes mismanagement played a role. From another angle, Governor Moore's team is saying, "This isn't even our pipe, it's yours, and you've done nothing about it." Both perspectives could have merit depending on the actual legal and administrative framework that governs this particular piece of infrastructure. It's also worth noting that Governor Moore is mentioned as a potential 2028 candidate, which might add a political layer to how aggressively both sides are responding. That doesn't mean the issue isn't real, it absolutely is, but it might explain why the rhetoric is so sharp. What's clear is that 240 million gallons of sewage in a major river is an ecological disaster that needs immediate attention, regardless of who's technically at fault. The blame game might matter later for accountability and preventing future incidents, but right now, action seems more important than argument. It's also interesting that FEMA was mentioned as a possible responder, but the agency isn't currently funded due to separate political disputes over Homeland Security funding. That adds another layer of complexity. Even if federal help is offered, it's not clear how quickly or effectively it can be deployed. At the end of the day, this situation is a reminder that infrastructure, pipes, bridges, water systems, doesn't care about politics. It just fails when it's old or poorly maintained. Whether this gets resolved through federal intervention, state action, or some combination of both, the real test will be how quickly people get safe water again and how seriously both levels of government take preventing the next disaster. What do you think? Should this have been handled faster? And who do you believe is actually responsible here? Let me know in the comments.